This other really important thing that systems need. This is another system must do. And you know that I like to save my favorite one for the end, and I've done that again, but I really do feel like you need the other ones to fully like grasp and understand why this one is so important, okay? So I'm gonna tell you about that. But in the meantime, I want you to comment, ask me questions, ask for help troubleshooting your systems, whatever it is. Maybe you're having trouble getting motivated to create your system. Whatever that is, tell me what it is, and I will help you. There are lots of things I'm not good at, but one of the things I'm really good at is shoving you to get you where you need to go. So if you need that, let me know. I'll help you. I'm here. Okay? All right. So here's my last tip when it comes to systems. You need to be constantly reminding yourself why you have the system in the first place. Now, I touched on this in one of the other videos. It was one of the other system tips, but this is incredibly, incredibly important, and I want to explain it to you. I want to explain why, and I want to explain how you can have that be something that's a regular practice. I build this into my system to do. That's how important it is. Because here's the thing, whether you are trying to get healthier by eating differently or exercising regularly, or maybe you starting your own business and you're trying to have something go, or you're adding a business to what you're doing, like a multi-level marketing thing, or maybe you're just trying to balance the stuff you have going on better, like your work and home life, like whatever that is. Maybe you're trying to find love, like whatever that is, be more organized. Like there's so many things, right? You need to be constantly thinking about, why am I doing this? And what is my system bringing to me while I'm doing it? A lot of people, when they set goals, get really focused on this end result that they want. Okay, so let's say you want to be healthier, and one of the things that you want is to lose 50 pounds. What's going to happen is after a couple of weeks, when you haven't lost 50 pounds, you're going to start to slip in your motivation. You're going to start to lose inspiration, and it's going to be really easy to either plateau and not continue to push yourself, or to stop, to quit. Because whatever it is you're working towards, you don't currently have, so it's not something that is like easy for you to get. You'd already have it if it was. It's something that you have to push yourself for. You need to bend and stretch and move and constantly be pushing yourself to get that. And the pushing yourself doesn't have to mean like pushing yourself to the brink of exhaustion. Terrible idea also. You'll never be able to keep up with that. You want to be pushing yourself to a place where you're always a little uncomfortable, okay? So when I would teach yoga, and I just came from there, I think that's why my hair looks like that, and the fact that it's like a monsoon windstorm outside. Whatever, okay? Hey, Kelly. But you want to be constantly like pushing yourself that extra step. So when I would teach yoga, I would say, like when you're stretching or holding a pose, you want to feel as if you know where your body can hold it and it's comfortable, and then you go a tiny bit further. So you're not in pain, but it's not comfortable. You're not resting. You're pushing yourself a little bit further. If I would teach Pilates or any kind of exercise, I would say, do one more than you feel like you have in you, because then you'll always get somewhere. You'll always gain something. You'll get to a newer place. Does that make sense? So I never said do 500 more or stretch 8 miles further than you can. Like, no, you want to just take that next little step, because that next little step keeps getting further and further out. And so then, because you keep kind of going towards it closer. So you want to be pushing yourself, but not to a place where you're going to run out of gas. No. The things that you want because you want your life to be better, not more exhausting or worse or more stressful, okay? So you got to check yourself. You got to check in all the time and say, what is this bringing me? So let's use the 50 pounds example. So let's say you're trying to lose 50 pounds. At the end of week 1, you're not going to have lost 50 pounds. That's not going to happen unless you did something very drastic and unhealthy. And even then, that's not going to happen. So what did you gain? Ask yourself that question. What did my system gain me this week? Okay, so maybe you exercised and you put some real focus on healthy eating and put a lot of effort into meal planning healthy things for yourself. So what you could do then is you could say, what did those two things get me? What did I get that I didn't have without this system? And then you're going to write them down. There's something really specific, guys, about writing it that makes a huge, huge difference. There's some kind of connection with your brain and spiritually and the angel. I don't know what it is. So you can say it to yourself, but really try to make an effort to write it. Like keep a journal. I have a notebook right here that I do this in. That's, small. I can just keep it with me in my bag. And I go in and I like write those things down. Okay. So I write ideas and brainstorms, but I also write this week, the gift that my system gave me was this. Okay. So this does two things for you. First, it keeps you motivated. So in that 50 pounds loss example, if you did that and at the end of your week, you said, okay, in my system, I focused on eating healthier and I focused on exercising. And I did it so many times a week and this was my focus and that's your system. You would say at the end of that week, because you didn't lose your 50 pounds in 1 week, right? At the end of that week, you'd say, well, I had more energy and I was in a better mood and I slept better. And I felt better about myself. I felt more confident. I felt proud of myself for achieving those things. And the list could go on and on, right? So you want to make sure you're looking at that because your end results, especially if you're a girl like me, is probably big. It's probably something that you're going to have to continue to work towards. Makes sense? So let's say it's a business related goal. Let's say that your goal is to get 2 new clients this month. Okay, so let's say you're doing like some kind of multi-level marketing thing and you're like, I want to get 2 new people under me this month. If that's your goal, you create your system to make that happen. And let's say you're going to have that happen in this whole month. Well, after week 1, it may or may not have happened. So you're going to want to check in and you're going to go, okay, what did I gain by doing this? Well, actually, I gained some more followers in this group that I have, or I gained more emails from my email list, or what did I gain? You want to be asking yourself that question. The next question that you want to ask, and the next thing that just going down this line of thought will give to you is, what didn't work? Okay? Don't be somebody who creates a plan and a goal and doesn't ask herself that question. Do that. Ask that all the time. What didn't work? What didn't feel good? Okay? What didn't I check off my list? What didn't feel like it served me? So let's take that 50-pound weight loss goal again, okay? Let's say you're trying to lose 50 pounds and you're going back through your week and you're like, you know what? That spin class I took, that did not work. I didn't like the time or the instructor, or I just don't like that form of exercise. So I think next week I'm going to do something different. I'm going to try either a different class or a whole different exercise, type. I'm going to do something different, a different time of day. I'm going to try that because that was really difficult for me to make. Or I felt stressed getting back in time for this or whatever. So you want to be constantly checking in on that too. Because if you don't, you're going to notice that you're getting stressed and you're not adding to your life in a good way. You're just making it busier. We don't want that, okay? So be brave enough to ask yourself those questions and find the solutions. You can do it. There are solutions to these things. They're not written in stone and there's not one way to do anything. Let's say you're trying to find your soulmate. Okay? And you say, what worked for me? What did I gain this week? And you're like, okay, I gained confidence. I gained some new ideas. I actually did meet some good people. None of them were my soulmate, but I'm really happy that I connected with those people and I got good dating practice. And I talked to a few people and told them I'm looking and let them know if you think someone, would match up well with me, I'd appreciate that. And at the end of your week, you looked back and you're like, what didn't work? And you're like, you know what? That one app that I have on my phone, that just didn't feel good. I'm not going to use that app anymore. I'm going to either try a different app or I'm not going to use an app. I'm going to go to like an activity, a group activity thing. I'm going to do something different because that didn't feel like it served me. Okay? So you want to be asking yourself those types of questions constantly. It's very, very important. Motivation isn't something that just sticks around all the time. Like you have to keep creating it and reminding yourself why you're doing it. Don't remind yourself of your goal either. Remind yourself of the feelings you're after, okay? I'm doing this because I want to feel like this. That's what you want to be constantly reminding yourself of and constantly looking at, what did I gain? And knowing that the stuff that didn't work, do it different, okay? If you're doing a healthy eating plan and for every single meal, you have to eat like lettuce leaves and broccoli, and that's it. You get to the end of your week and you're like, I'm gassy and I'm starving. This is not working. Then find a different healthy plan. That's okay. One thing doesn't work for everybody. It's not one size fits all. Does that make sense? Are you feeling and connecting with that? Do you know what I mean? Don't be afraid. Kind of like the card I pulled for you earlier. Go back to the beginning when we're done if you didn't see that. But make sure that you are constantly checking in with yourself and making sure that you know what you're gaining and you're tweaking and adjusting what didn't work. The last piece of this that I really, really want to drive home for you is this. Sometimes you're not going to follow through with your system. Sometimes it's not going to work, and you cannot beat yourself up for that. You have to give yourself a break. Some other events are going to happen. You're exhausted, you're tired, you have something else going on, you have to bump it. It's all okay. So I got a couple messages from people like, I did really good with my system for a couple weeks, and then I had these 2 days where I just didn't follow it. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? And I'm like, you're a human. That's okay. All right, so my board behind me, I don't really think that you could read it, but there's only 2 work days on because I'm going on vacation. So there's 2 work days, and I know myself, because when you're checking in with your systems and understanding what works and doesn't, you really know what serves you and what works for you, okay? I know myself. I knew that at the beginning of this week, my brain would have trouble focusing on work because I would be thinking about packing and about blah, 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 blah. So I knew the kinds of tasks that I would be able to accomplish, and I knew the kinds that I wouldn't. I knew any kind of real creative, deep thinking was not going to go super well. Anything that I had to really write. So I picked tasks that I knew were achievable and easy, like finishing up my New Year Angel card reports. I knew that I could focus well enough to do that. I knew that checking in with a few people who I needed to check in with was going to be something that I could definitely do. I knew that I have to research something for an oil class that I'm going to teach. And so I knew that, just looking for a few resources, not actually like diving too deep, but knowing, okay, I can look here and I can do there, and saving those, I knew that that was something I could accomplish. And then I cut my day early and I focused the rest of the day on my itinerary and packing because I knew that's where my head was going to be, okay? But even still, there was one thing on my list, that last one I told you, research the places. I didn't do it. Because I was sitting there when I was allotted to do that, thinking, oh my gosh, is this clean? Did I wash that? I wonder which pair of sandals the boys should wear. I wonder if those sandals still fit them. I wonder what time I should do this. What else did I say I have to pick up? Let me check my list. Like, that's what was happening. So I allowed it. Allow yourself that. Give yourself a break. It's okay, all right? My system tells me that on Mondays, I go for a run in the morning when the kids get on the bus. Well, I looked outside today, here in New England. If you live around here, you know. And every time I looked out, the weather was different. It was snowing, then it was sunny, then it was raining, then it was sleeting. And I was like, nope, it's not going to work today. That's okay. I can shift. I moved a few things around, and I'll do it tomorrow. That's okay. Give yourself permission to do that. The system isn't there to make you feel rigid and stressed, and I have to get these things done. Ugh. No, that's not what the system's there for. The system's there to give your brain a break, okay? Don't fight against yourself. Give yourself that break. Give yourself those things, okay? Makes sense? Does that help? Okay. Melissa says, have a blast in Disney this week. I will. So I'm still doing cards tomorrow night. I'll be around in the group and helping tomorrow. And then I will still be checking in from vacation. But Christine Varnum, the lovely, amazing person that she is, thank goodness for her, will also be checking in, and she was going to pull cards for you next Tuesday night. So you will not be forgotten about. That doesn't happen around here. I love you all too much to do that to you. So you will have support, but I promise that I will have a blast in Disney and in Florida for sure. I'm actually going to a beach. I think it's called Siesta Keys Beach, and it's all, it's like crystal quartz, all the sand is. So apparently, like, people say, like, even when like you start to be within a mile of the beach, you can feel the energy coming from it. So maybe I'll try to take a video of it for you guys and try to send that energy out to you too, because it's supposed to be awesome. So we're gonna go check that out too. So I'll let you know how all of that is. But what I want from you now is I want questions, whether it has to do with systems, troubleshooting them, whatever parts of it you're struggling with, or sharing what is working awesome. Like, I want to know that. I want to know nothing to do with systems, what's going on in your life that you need help and support with. How are you doing managing the energy from the shift in presidents? You know, it's not going to become a political discussion, but I will absolutely support you energetically and how you're feeling and all of that good stuff. There's definitely like still a real separation going on, a real disconnect between people and energy. And that's hurting my heart. And I want there to be more connection. So I'm brainstorming ideas to make that happen. But just, I would say, if you're feeling that too, and you're connecting with that message, just try to post or speak in terms of what you want instead of what you don't want. And try not to attack, and don't attack a person for believing differently than you. Support and listen.